Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, March 31st, the last day of March. Tomorrow we begin April. I don't know if you know what that means, but April 1st tomorrow. Okay, first of all, I need to apologize about Jip. I was so busy yesterday responding to things and doing the Zoom and all that and just general stuff. And I totally forgot to read it to you yesterday during the day. So I read it about 8 o'clock last night, and it didn't get posted till about 9:15. It has to process a whole bunch in YouTube after, especially if it's a long video like that. So it is chapter 3 is posted in Class Dojo now, and I'm not sure if I sent it to your parents in an email also. But anyways, there's chapter 3. Today I will also read chapter 4. I might even do chapter 4 and 5 because they're pretty short. And I'm going to post a question on Class Dojo about Jip. So it's going to be on something through chapter 3. So if you only get to chapter 3 today, that's fine. Okay, you can respond to the question on Class Dojo about Jip. Okay? All right, so in addition to listening to chapter 3, you have your reading and 30 minutes of reading and brief reading response. You have your math, a page of math, or one of the math problem solvers, and you have a page of writing. Somebody yesterday suggested that it might be neat for you guys to keep a journal during this time period, because this is probably going to be remembered in history like other pandemics in the world. Like people still talk about the Spanish flu pandemic or the Black Plague, for example. So it might be kind of neat to have you write down how you see the world right now through your eyes. You know, maybe it's just all about, I can't go out and it's really driving me crazy, or I can't see my friends and I wish I could. But it might be neat for you to, to be able to share with your grandchildren years from now, just like when you found primary sources looking back at your ancestors, how fun that was, how neat that was to actually hear about their lives. So I bet your grandchildren and great-grandchildren would really think it pretty cool if they had a primary source from you, keeping a diary, a journal, some kind of record of what your days are like during the coronavirus pandemic of 2020. Just a thought. All right, a couple things I want to talk to you about today. So first of all, I can see now that 3 of you have read the Vermont book on Epic, which is great. And so today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to make your brochure. And if you haven't read Epic, if you haven't read the Vermont informational book on Epic, please try to do that by Thursday so that you can refer back to these directions about how to make the brochure. If you can't get on Epic, that's okay. If you can't get on Epic, remember I tucked the several pages from our Vermont book inside inside your packet, so you can read that and you'll make a brochure based on that. So let me show you the idea, okay, the end in mind that you have for your brochure. So a brochure is a little a paper like this that opens up. So it has, in order to make it, you take a plain piece of paper and you fold it into thirds. So do the best you can, get it into thirds, and then make a nice deep crease. Okay, I'm just going to do this quickly just to show you what it can look like. All right, so mine is not exactly thirds, and if that's the case, just make the larger flap be on the outside. Okay, I guess they're both. All right, so you will create a brochure about Vermont, and you have 3 choices. Actually 4 if you're reading the Vermont history in the other packet, not on Epic if you're reading that. So here are your 3 choices, and then I'll tell you the 4th one if you're not reading Epic. All right, one choice, you can create a persuasive brochure. So you're trying to persuade somebody, to convince somebody to come to live in Vermont. Okay, remember how we talked about that's a real issue right now in Vermont, how we have a low population and we have an aging population, and the governor, the legislature wants to encourage young families to come to Vermont. So see if you can create a brochure that would convince families to come to Vermont, to live in Vermont. Okay, that's one persuasion option. You can also write create a brochure that persuades or convinces people to come to visit Vermont. So then you might write about different things, like you might write about skiing in Vermont or hiking in Vermont, or various places to visit in Vermont. Okay, so that would be a different kind of brochure. Third option, you can write a straight informational brochure. So that would be just like that. The book that you read was a straight informational book. You can just take information. You need to group it though. You need to group, so everything about one topic would be here. I'm going to show you that in just a second. All right, and then the fourth option, if you cannot get on Epic, the fourth option is to read through your the packet, the chapter that's about Vermont history, and then create a brochure that is all about Vermont's history. Okay, so when you do this, I'm just going to show you. I gave you 2 pieces of paper. You may certainly use more if you have more, but if you don't have more, please use one of the papers to create your first draft. Okay, I would encourage you to write in pencil, write lightly in pencil, so that you can erase and change. If you, and I know a few of you might, if you have the capability of doing this on a computer, that would be awesome. But if you don't, paper is fine, absolutely fine. Okay, so I just started an example. Okay, so remember, this is my sloppy copy, my first draft, but I didn't do it in pencil because I wanted you to be able to see it. So on the front, I drew a picture of Vermont, and I didn't very well plan my spacing, but here I wrote Vermont in bubble letters. And then I'm trying to convince people to come to live in Vermont. So I've got a perfect place to call home, a perfect place to call home. Okay, now inside, remember that there, in addition to this is your cover of your brochure. You have 1, 2, 3 spaces inside, 4, 5. Okay, so you need to pick 5 different subtopics of Vermont. So the big topic is Vermont, a perfect place to call home. Now underneath that, I want to give 5 reasons, basically. So think about this as your boxes and bullets. My thesis is Vermont is a great place to call home. Now my reasons are, and I'm going to put the reasons at the top. So I've got the land of Vermont, where I can talk about, the mountains, the rivers, the Lake Champlain, things like that. The people of Vermont. Here I can talk about the type of people who live in Vermont, the friendliness of people in Vermont. I can also talk about famous Vermonters. Okay. Over here I have the culture of Vermont. So that would be things to do in Vermont, museums to visit, art galleries, music, a theater, things like that. Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. You might think of something different for culture. And then over here you can see that I had a mess up down here, so I kind of redid my brochure. But this page would be all about the beauty of Vermont. So we can talk about fall foliage, or summer in Vermont, or the beauty in winter in Vermont, or somewhere in here you can put something about maple sugaring. Okay, the people of Vermont, maybe maple sugaring. And then the last section, I have what you need to know about Vermont. So this might be like a lot of facts, maybe like the population and the major cities, and major city really, Burlington, and other facts about Vermont. You could even do a little bit of history here, like it became a state in 1791. It was the 14th state, the first one after the 13 colonies, things like that. Okay, that's the way I've set up my brochure. You can see it's not finished. I still have a lot of work to do, but that's my first draft, my start of my first draft. Okay, I have a lot more to go on that. All right, so that should give you an idea about your brochure. Remember, if you only have the 2 pieces of paper that I sent with you, use one as a rough draft and then save the other one when you're really happy with how you've got things situated on your rough draft. Go ahead and put it onto your final copy. Okay, now as far as pictures, if you have pictures like from a magazine or somewhere else that you want to cut out and put into your brochure, that's fine. Think about, do you want to add a caption to your picture? That would be like a really small piece of text right underneath it that explains that picture. Remember, you can also include things like charts, graphs. Here, of course, is a map. You may choose to have something else on the front, but you probably will want to have a map of Vermont somewhere in there. Okay, I drew this by looking at I think it was like the 3rd or 4th page of the book on EPIC. Okay, all right. So if you choose to do informational, of course, your topics could be different. Okay, and if you're doing the history, your topics would be different. Maybe it's Native Americans, maybe it's European settlers, then maybe it's the Revolutionary War, because you have information about all of this, and then you can go on to talk about the Civil War in Vermont or changes in Vermont, and then maybe the Industrial Revolution in Vermont. Okay, so you would use something like that if you were doing a history of Vermont. Okay, if you have any questions, make sure you let me know. All right, but that's the idea for your brochure. Okay, now yesterday, just spur of the moment, because Saul was so excited about it, we decided to do a Zoom call, and I sent the invitation to all of your families, but I'm not sure if you all got it in time. So we're going to do another one this morning. We're going to do one at 11 o'clock. And I want to let you know how you can access Zoom. So Ariana, listen carefully, because this is for you. Okay, if you're on a computer, okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go to zoom.us, zoom.us, okay? And then up, let's see, up in the upper right, along the top, you'll see a spot that says join a meeting. When you join a meeting, you need to put in the meeting ID. When you go to do this, it may say you need to download something on your computer. I'm not sure. I can't tell anymore because I've downloaded it on all my computers. So I don't know if you have to download it in order to join a meeting. If you don't, just click on join a meeting and then put in the meeting ID. If you do, make sure you check with your parents first that it's okay to do that. All right, the other option is on a mobile device. This is what Saul used yesterday. So that could be a phone, an iPad, a tablet of some kind. Okay, you download the Zoom app. Okay, I'm going to show you that right here. All right, let's see. All right. Okay, this is the Zoom app right here. You see, it looks like a video camera on it. All right, I'm going to open it. Okay, it says Zoom. And then right down here, it says join a meeting. When you click on join a meeting, it's going to come up and ask you for the meeting ID. That's a 9-digit number. It's actually like 3, 3, and 3 digits, 3 digits, 3 digits. And I will send that out by email, and I will post it on Class Story on Class Dojo. Okay, I will not leave it up beyond the meeting today, because once the meeting's closed, it's closed. And you will notice that when you click to join a meeting and you put in the meeting ID, you are going to need to wait in a waiting room until I let you in. And that's just a level of protection so that I only let our class in. Okay, we actually do have a couple of special guests today, but they're allowed in. So you'll see them at 11 o'clock if you're able to join us in Zoom. Okay, we had a good time yesterday where there were 5 of you who joined in. It was, let's see, Avery, Duke, Saul, Shelby, and Mia. Mia joined. Yeah. So I'm hoping to see all of them again today, all of you again today, and hopefully some more too. All right. So I think I've gone way over my time this morning. Um, look a little later this morning, or ask your parents to look to check their email, or look in Class Dojo for the meeting ID. And you can log in a little bit before 11. I'll try to be on so I can let you in a little bit ahead of the 11 o'clock. So typically they only allow 40 minutes, so I don't want to let you in too early, because then people who join at 11 o'clock, we won't have much time, or won't have as much time. Okay? All right. I hope to see some of you later on Zoom, and otherwise, oh, about Zoom, please make sure you have your parents' permission to be on, okay? It's just important that your parents know. And if they don't want you to go on, that's okay. Okay, I'm not doing any teaching on this. This is just a chance to see each other and chat with each other. Okay? All right. Have a great day, and I'll see you later.